Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on what's the date? September 19th. Wow. We are ramping up into the holidays. My name is Max, joined by Luke. And sorry, did I say my name's Max?
You did, but that's okay.
That's so funny.
Common mistake.
My name is not Brendan. Or sorry. Oh my gosh. I need to go get some sleep. My name is not Max. My name is Brendan, joined by Max and Luke. Okay, wow. That was the roughest.
Here, if it makes you feel better, I'll relate an anecdote. I definitely have introduced myself by my father's name, so weirder things have happened.
Okay. I was thinking ahead. I was like, oh, I need to introduce Max too. Anyways, hey, we are glad to be with you. We got a fun little episode. It is our countdown to Stonesaga, kind of, I guess, series episode 9. I guess we're already on episode 9. Wow.
Wow, 9 already?
Yeah, 9. We are speaking about the crafting mechanic, which is, I would say, probably one of the core central mechanics of Stonesaga. Really unique. I don't know. We'll dive into it in a bit here, and then but a little bit of an update. I am staring at about a dozen prototypes of Stonesaga right now that have come in from China, and a bunch of miniatures and 3D printed trays, rule books, but a bunch of things looking at right after this live stream. And I'll be kind of assembling some boxes, and we'll be shipping them off to reviewers. So potentially reviewers will have them by the end of the month. We'll generate content, and we are kind of gun-ho towards our February 7th Kickstarter launch date. I just popped on our Kickstarter channel this morning, and I think we're like nearing 6,300 followers, something like that. Very exciting. So hey, if you're not following us on Kickstarter, make sure you I think the links are below, but make sure you kind of click notify me so that you'll be one of the first to be in the loop. We haven't discussed, but we typically do like a 48-hour kind of early bird thank you for the people who've been following along, and then we make that small gift kind of purchasable after. So for Mythwind, I think we had like a little like Pokemon deck, like a five cards in like a foil, kind of like just a cool little like early bird promo. We haven't discussed what we'll do for Stonesaga. Maybe we'll give everyone like a little pet dog or something. Oh wait, that's maybe a spoiler. But what should we do? I think we should start with the trailer. What do you guys?
You've been telling us about this trailer. We haven't seen it yet, so
okay. So about 10 minutes ago, our video guy messaged me the final cut of our Stonesaga trailer. What we've posted online was like our teaser 6-second video, and we just got the final cut. I don't know if this is final because I haven't given my seal of approval on it. I haven't seen this yet, so this is a live reaction. You 5 people who are joining us live, you are witnessing something incredibly special here. So I think we should go ahead and mute ourselves, Luke and Max. I don't know what the feedback's like, and then I'll click play on this video, and then we can share reactions at the end of this. I'm excited. I've never done something like this before. Okay,
sounds good.
All right, so Max, you're muted. I'm going to mute myself, and then I am going to click live. That's kind of cool.
Pretty cool. Man,
That-
I hope it doesn't make it seem cooler than it actually is. It's like watching that. I'm like, holy shit, who made this awesome game?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait, that
really.
was us.
yeah, that was neat. Sorry, I'm like I'm scrubbing through the video. Holy.
Yeah,
Oh.
I that visual of the primal cave wall with all the art in it, really,
Yeah,
that
this one right here, right?
very cool. Yeah, and well, and I love that they added the embellishment illustrations, the stuff you don't have to do, but you certainly can, and it'll really like really spice up your game.
Wow. And then I think something that was there's two like really neat moments as we've made this video. Okay, so this moment here, I think is maybe lost on a lot of like initial glances. And actually it is lost unless you've played the game. But there's this cave in the middle of the screen here, and then it does this cool thing where it like zooms into the cave, and then you do your delving mechanic, and then it shows the delving card. So there's this whole activity with the cave, and then there's another place. I think we do the same thing with. Oh yeah, right here. So it shows the scene, right? This campfire scene.
Yeah.
And then it zooms out, and then you actually get the same scene as the overlay.
Yeah, we can see that overlay going down. That's neat. Very cool.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I'm still really impressed with the with that tray design. The the open edge tray, the two layered pegs. That's very clever.
Yeah, it fits together really nice.
It's way less plastic than my original concept.
yeah. The earlier trays had, I mean, the hex had to go into a tray with plastic around the edges, so there was like a plastic border around every hex. But being able to cut that just makes it look so much more like an actual like map, like an actual like yeah. So you have some of the tiles that have the same biome. Some of them look so good next to each other.
And then I think we have a nice big there's a couple of, I really like these overview shots. This is like a nice sweeping shot at the end. Pretty neat. A little bit, maybe not graphically correct. Wait, can the behemoth go on an unexplored hex?
I think presently it can't. That's something we've discussed. It's not impossible. It wouldn't work with its current movement system.
It's okay.
But
there are other minor inaccuracies here.
I mean, that might even not be an inaccuracy in the long term.
Yeah.
I would be if this were my game, I would be criticizing our group for making the decision to leave one open hex in the middle of how we arranged our hexes.
No way.
That's not illegal. That's not illegal. That's possible.
That's not illegal.
I would just be annoyed.
Yeah.
Well, Luke, maybe we should have like something that can like fill those in. That could be an interesting thing.
Get like some flood. Okay, so
no, this is the other part I really like.
Yeah.
The spear.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna play this. I'm gonna turn off the volume here. I'm gonna play this crafting bit here.
Yep. Oh.
Boom.
You made a spear.
What is this? This 4-second clip shows a lot.
Oh, this is a spoiler.
Yeah, I guess it is a spoiler, but you know what? I'm okay to spoil this because we really need to spoil something for to explain crafting.
Yes, it's true. You can't talk about it without spoiling something.
Who wants to explain crafting? And I think when we explain, maybe before speaking about this, we actually speak about this.
Okay.
But to get to this, so who wants to do a stab at that, Max?
Well, I'll talk about gathering materials.
Okay.
So there are a bunch of ways you can gather materials. Foraging is one of them, foraging is this sort of a symbol matching push your luck game with a small deck of cards. It's this activity you do. When you forage, it's a little hard to get it clearly across from here, but basically the overall gist of the game is you're trying to find the resources you want or make rows of them that leads to the back row. So if something's in that like front area, that sort of green part, it's in reach. If it's in the brown, the yellowy brown area, it's you need like something in the front to connect to it of the same type. And if it's in the dark brown area, you need something in both rows to connect to it. So here we've got in FF10 on the left, we've got a bush with some nuts that you can eat up in the front row, and then 2 more of those in the second row. And so, if you chose that to be the thing you'd harvest one thing. If you chose that to be the thing you harvest, you get those. And there's sort of an additional game here where there are these inset objects. So those little mushrooms down there, you'd actually get those too. So you'd get some nuts and also some mushrooms. So you get some food out of that. But you can also harvest materials. And materials, in addition to food, you can get materials used for building. So that tree there gives you wood. And that one, because it's got vines on it, would also give you fiber. Sometimes you can find stones here, but there are a bunch of different ways to get the different materials. So you can kind of pick and choose what's best for your environment, and even which of the activities you like doing the most.
Yeah, and you get materials from. It depends on what you want, right? Like, it's very easy to get wood from foraging. Also, that's the only place you're going to find pitch and fiber. Also, the animals you can hunt while foraging are the only sources for some things like hide and bones and shells. But then you can also find some materials while fishing. And if you need stones, you would go mining and get stones. Although, as Max alluded to, you can sometimes find as a bonus object a stone, say next to a tree, or, buried underneath a bush or something like that. So there's several different ways to get these materials. And, as Max was also saying, some things are food that you eat, and there's also water, and then some things are these crafting materials. So there's a mix of both with foraging and fishing.
Yeah. And so when you get the materials, you end up getting these tokens. On the right, we have a stick, and on the wood, on the left, we have it's a processed stone. But maybe we can. So let's look at the stick, the thing on the right. Talk me through what I am seeing there.
So what you've got here is you've got a few different elements of this, all of which are important. First of all, you've got the art, and the art has mechanical ramifications that are tied in with the rest of it. So depending on the way the art is positioned in the recipe, the outputs will be different. The way that actually plays out mechanically is through the colorful dots. So you see the 2 blue pips, or the 2 yellow triangles, etc. Each of those is associated with one of the sides, and those are, you connect those together with other materials to create a 4-digit code that reads from left to right or right to left. The codes are directionally interchangeable, and that does that. There are a couple other interesting things on here, though. The border tells you what type of material it is, so that sort of green, leafy, textured border tells you it's a plant material, and sometimes that matters. And the icons on there tell you what's required to process it. So that stone has already been processed. It doesn't have the little icons with the flip. It has the icons in the top left there, and that means it gives you that icon. But the stick needs those icons to be processed. So if you wanted to flip that stick to its other side, which has a different art and a different set of codes, it would be you'd need cut, which you have, because those icons match, but you'd also need the fire icon. And getting that one can be a little tricky. Fire is a big step in your society's development, especially being able to get fire reliably and easily without having to work really hard at it.
Yeah, I think, and also the video itself, the movement of the tokens, I think, is illustrating two really important things about crafting. One, they're trying to find 2 sides that have the same color, because that's important. When you match up 2 materials and you're going to try and craft something, you have to have the sides that are touching have a matching color. The number of dots don't have to match, but the colors do. And the other important thing that they're doing by rotating these is that the orientation matters. So notice that there are some other sides with yellow on the stick and some other sides with yellow on the stone, and even red on each of these. Those are all arrangements you could try, but those would not give you a spear. This arrangement right here, where it logically looks like it would make a spear, is the arrangement that would give you a spear. So, with, only so many possible orientations, there's some items that, it's, maybe not perfectly intuitive, but as much as we could, it's the actual orientation of the items together that matters. Not like you can't just slap, a stick and a stone, a river stone in this case, together in any orientation with sides that match and expect to get a spear. In some instances, you may not get anything. In some instances, you may get something totally different than a spear, which is another important point, that like two materials could have several different items that you can make from them. I mean, just in this example right here, there's, let's see, let me just quick count in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 different items you can get just from these two materials, depending on how you orient them.
5 unique items.
Yes, 5 totally different items.
Just from that. See, I think that's, for me, that's one of the neatest, because I'm trying to think about myself. I believe I've made 3. No, I think I've made 4. I don't know what
you've definitely made a knife. I know that.
I've made a knife, and I've made a spear, and I think I made 2 other ones. I don't know what the 5th one is, but that's so you would get this, and then this reads as a formula, right? So it would be red 1 4 2 2, correct?
Yep. And the other thing too that's helpful. Oh, you have the codex. Perfect.
I was gonna say, you pull up the codex.
Yep. There's 2 pieces of it as information when you craft. So that code you read, so like each number of pips being a digit, and then the first color. You don't need to know what any of the other colors are, which is kind of interesting about the code. You only need to know what the first one is. So like you said, in this case, you would look up in the codex, so red, just because that's the starting color. None of the other colors matter. And then it was like red 1 4 2 2.
Okay, second, we got to get to the. Okay, so red here. What was it? 1 4 2 2.
Yep.
So 1 4. If you don't want to get spoiled. Oh, it's covered by our faces. Oh wait, it's up there. It's up at the top. Riverstone spear. You made a Riverstone spear. So cool. And then that's what we show.
Yep. And then you would get the item.
Yeah. The other thing about this system, and this is something that Luke was working really hard recently to implement, and we did with information we got from our beta testers and our alpha play testers, is filling in some of the miss answers, what the codex tells you when you don't make a thing. And so based on what the response data we've gotten, where people are like, oh, I tried to make an axe by doing this. And if they had something oriented, in the wrong way and it didn't quite work out, the thing will say like, oh, if you were trying to make an axe, maybe try positioning the, wood as a handle rather than a haft or something.
Well, and I think that was something that, we'd always planned on doing. And it was really helpful to get feedback from our beta testers on what were the things that they tried. And one of the trends I noticed was there was a lot of people just putting 2 things together to see if they made something, right? Without sort of really any intentionality towards, what realistically that would make. And that's fine. That sort of experimentation is fine. But if you just do it and you get nothing, that doesn't feel like you've made any progress, right? You can only like cross one thing off the list. So one of the main things we added to this codex were hint entries for those kind of combinations. If they just stuck, 2 rocks together that didn't make anything, the hint would be, oh, hey, these 2 kinds of rocks together don't produce anything useful, but maybe if you added, one of these other rocks instead, or similarly, there's a lot of like, there's only a few things in the game you can make out of combining 2 of the same materials together. And that was also something I think I noticed a trend is a lot of people would try just 2 of the same thing together. So a lot of the hint is, hey, maybe if you substituted this other type of thing, or in some cases, those 2 materials together would produce something, but they had to be in a different orientation. So the hint was, you're trying to put 2 sticks together side by side. Maybe if you oriented one of them sideways. So those were the kind of hints that we implemented, sort of to help you not just be like, oh, here's a hint at how to make something, but also hopefully to nudge players more towards being intentional about the orientations they create and trying to think about what that could create as an item. And Max and I have joked that actually having some, I guess, academic knowledge about what are Neolithic technologies that were possible at the time actually does help in this game a little bit, because you can think of some things that, you know, would be possible to make at that time period.
Yeah, it definitely it helps a bit, but not too much. The game is abstract enough that, you know, you won't have too much of an advantage. But if you
no, but if you know what a bow drill is,
yes, if you know
you
what a bow
might
drill
try to make a bow drill, and that's in the game, and you can make a bow drill.
That's true. Well, the thing I really like about the hint system, and, you know, we always knew we wanted to implement it, but being able to work with the, you know, the information that the beta testers were kind enough to give us just means it's going to be a lot better, because we're seeing like, oh, what are the paths people are actually going to go down? And it's, you know, I love having this kind of open development where we're really getting a lot of feedback as we go, rather than having to, you know, toss this thing out into the world and then retrospectively learn we should have done things differently. So yeah,
like massive props for the couple dozen people who have dove into our you know, beta playtest. It's huge, and you've done it all digitally, so thank you so much. And, you know, we're excited as we package these review copies and send them out to our reviewers. That's another round of feedback. And, you know, for us, even though you know, looking at this game, right, what we see here, this is basically, well, this is what people are going to be getting shipped for the review copies, and it looks like an awesome, epic, finished game. And it is, a lot of it is finished, but a lot of it's still in this process of development and design, which you know, we're excited to continue to iterate to provide the most fun sandbox experience, survival crafting sandbox experience possible.
I can't believe how cool these review copies are that we're sending out. I mean, like you said, like, they're so polished, and they are, you know, I don't know, what would you say, Max? More than 50% for sure of the finished game. You know, I think our push was to, like, finish. Obviously, we're still, you know, doing some iteration, but, you know, more or less finish the design for all of the core activities. I think, you know, when we get to the final game, what we're mainly going to flesh out is that sort of continued play aspect of it, the challenges and epochs, you know, sort of the more progressive sort of campaign part of the game. But for the most part, you know, like, really most of the core systems of the game exist there in that beta, you know, pretty much fully fleshed out.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's 90% of the system design and 15% of the content design.
Yeah, something like that.
There's a lot more from the standpoint of, like, when you're a player and you're you know, once you get into the swing of it, the beta is like most of what you need to learn to get into the swing of the game, but then not that much of, like, what you'll actually play once you're going. You know, we've only got the first 3 challenges of what are we planning? 24?
Roughly
24 plus.
We're not making any promises.
Not making any promises. 24-ish, somewhere in that range. So it's a pretty low percentage of the content, but the system is quite developed at this point.
Yeah,
systems. I mean, I think
systems,
that's one of the biggest thing about this game is that there's just so many different systems going on, and, like, we've used the word sandbox before, and I think that's really apt, that there's just so much you can do in this game, and they're all integrated in various ways. Brendan, as you pointed out, you know, to do the crafting, you get the materials from foraging, etc. But, like, each of them are kind of their own, you know, their own little self-contained set of mechanics in a way too. You know, it's been fun to see from the beta testers, people being like, you know, oh, I really love the fishing mechanic, and the friend I'm playing with really likes doing the crafting, you know, or I really like the foraging. So, like, yeah, there's a lot to do in this game. And I think I'm really pleased with how a lot of these systems have come together, and how each one feels unique too. I mean, like, delving is totally different than all of the other ones. So yeah, that's a pretty cool part.
Hey, well, unless there's anything else from you guys, I'm happy to kind of call this episode. It's great to kind of get here, talk about crafting, preview the trailer. I actually made a couple mental notes, so that what you saw is actually not the finished trailer. Just don't worry.
Early preview of the trailer. Preview.
Yeah.
It's our trailer beta.
Trailer beta.
But other than that, hey, happy holidays for all of you who have some time off. Otherwise, we'll see you probably in a couple weeks, and continue to look for content. We'll be dropping stuff over these weeks, and if you're taking some time over the next couple weeks to be playtesting Stonesaga, first of all, big massive thank you. We'll actually be uploading that codex I just showed. We actually don't we'll be uploading that along with the rule books and quick play guides into the TTS. So there's gonna be actually, I guess, a pretty decent beta
1.1.
Yeah, exactly. Beta 1.1, 1.5, whatever it is, right? So for those who are joining in for that, thank you for that. And reminder, hey, we are running a little bit of a contest for people who are digging into the playtest. Basically, every session that you play, you can fill out a form, and that is an entry to win an all-in pledge when we go live on Kickstarter. And I think there's a couple other things. You can write kind of your most favorite, least favorite things in our Discord channel. And kind of the big thing is that if you write a first impressions on Board Game Geek, you get a few more entries into that. So thank you all for that.
Well, and you should mention the Discord. If people want more information, that's the best place to go. And I think to get more information on the opting into the beta too. That's What is the Discord called?
It's our Game. It's Discord, and it's under the Stonesaga forum. I'm pretty sure there should be a Discord thing underneath us right now as we're speaking. There should be a Discord. Oh, as I just heard myself speak about it, there is a Discord link underneath. So that's great. You can click on that and join the community there. Cool. All right. Hey, take care, everyone.
Happy holidays.